Hi there, welcome to Cosmic Coaching with Daniel. Today we're going to be talking about a topic which is kind of at the heart of this channel, kind of bridging cosmic realities with human understanding, bridging science and spirituality and everything in between. So I want to talk about the concept of a multidimensional mind. First off, I'll ask you a question. Do you ever notice that there is kind of massive misunderstandings between human beings, whether you're looking in the political realm or religion, academia, science, or whether you're looking at simply couples and families and different community groups? Whatever level of society you're looking at, you will see that human beings misunderstand each other a lot. Why is this? There are distortions that enter into the conversational field. There are misunderstandings. There are misinterpretations. There are projections. There are all sorts of reasons. So I'm going to lay out sort of the big picture of what I call a multi-dimensional mind model. And that is one that I have developed. So I'm just going to outline the big picture ideas, and then if there's interest in this, I'll continue on with more specialized videos on the various themes I'll be addressing today. So first off, we want to kind of divide the universe into quadrants of knowledge. So if we look at the key here is to gain knowledge about the nature of reality. We can divide into sort of 5 main quadrants. First is knowledge of the self, knowing your internal self, your subjective feelings and thoughts and will impulses. That's called the sort of intrapersonal. Then there's knowledge of other people, right? Partnerships, family, friends, colleagues, business partners. That's the world of the other. So there's 2 different fields of knowledge that involves human beings. And now we can look at sort of the physics of reality, which is, the laws of gravity, Newtonian physics, quantum physics, chemical laws, biochemistry, biology of human beings, plants and animals. So that's the whole spectrum of science, physics, and how things work. What are the principles? And then we have kind of the understanding of how does society work? What is the nature of society, culture, civilization? Kind of the goings on here on this planet in terms of the politics, economics, finance, religion, education, media, banking, the whole system that revolves around and creates our societal underpinnings, if that makes sense. So there's what's going on here, planet Earth, right? The stuff that's less scientific, we'll say, that involves interactions between human groups and nations and countries and cultures and religions, right? And then there's finally the highest levels, kind of the cosmic realm. What is the nature of all things cosmic or spiritual, or those things involving consciousness or otherworldly realities or beings? Okay, so we can kind of say there's these 5 quadrants: the cosmic, the societal or cultural, the laws of physics and biology and chemistry, and then there's the nature of other people, psychology and social psychology, and there is yourself and myself. What is the nature of the individual? What is the nature of self-knowledge? This is a key to many spiritual paths. So those being the 5 quadrants of kind of knowing the world, metaphysics, what is the nature of what exists. There are a number of areas that cause distortions and misunderstandings and confusions between people and in the various realms of society that we've talked about as science and academia and politics. Briefly, we've got context. Often misunderstanding comes from a misunderstood context. two people or two groups talking from different contexts and not knowing it. Then we've got perspectives. We see perspectives a lot in politics and religion and in philosophy too. There are many perspectives, there's many ways of viewing reality in all these different domains. That is perspectives. And then we have something known as levels of discourse. So levels of discourse is an area where you're going to have confusion because people use words differently and they're using language and semantics differently. And so levels of discourse is very important to understand within philosophy, within academia, within science, with anywhere there's a conversation. And then we have layers of reality, the sort of the grain of distinction that we're looking at. You can break down a computer in terms of its high level operating system, programming, and then the hardware substructures, the electronics, the gating, the chips, the ones and zeros, the microprogram. There's various levels of the hardware and the software. Okay, so there are levels of reality to physics, to computers, to pretty much everything we know. So those layers of reality show up in conversations. That's sort of some of the fundamental areas where people can get lost and confused. And now to complicate things a little bit further, every human being has a set of filters through which they see the world and understand the world. And these filters are many. They are cognitive filters, emotional filters, physiological filters, energetic filters, and spiritual filters. Right? So depending on our background, our environment, our upbringing, our context, that which we learn, that which is innately within us, we will see the world through different colored lenses. So there is a fundamental place, starting point from which we can see the world differently from others. And I've named kind of the 5 big picture areas where confusion can show up. And then there's a whole series of things called logical arguments. And in sort of critical thinking and basic philosophy, you've got different argument forms, and you've got what are called different logical fallacies. So that one I didn't name, but it's pretty fundamental. It's been around for a while. So given this, what do we do to solve the problem, to get clear? Well, we have to first of all become very humble. We have to kind of approach the world in like an empty cup that doesn't know anything. That's what I mean by humble. Humble, open, pure, not knowing, not assuming we have all the answers. That's one thing. The other thing is to attempt to meet people where they're at, meaning we want to be able to kind of tune in to where someone's coming from so we can understand something from someone else's point of view, step in their subjective shoes, so to speak, to step into their reality, their consciousness, their energies, their emotions, and then we can understand and just really get to the heart of what they're trying to say, what the intention is, right? The other thing we can do is pay very good attention to how words are used and to what is the context in which someone's talking. Because we don't understand the context, whether it's big picture or detailed, it's very easy to jump to the conclusion that they're wrong, or they don't understand, or that they have a different viewpoint than we do. So this is very much a big picture overview of an extensive model. And it's a model with which we can understand people better and understand where things go wrong. Debates come from conflicts, arguments, whether at the micro level in relationships and families, or at the macro level within organizations or different domains of society like politics, media, religion, economics, different groups, nations, cultures. You know, there's so much conflict in the world at so many levels that it's important that we gain a kind of mental clarity as to where this is coming from, so we can kind of nip it in the bud and prevent it from happening as much as possible, at least in our own personal lives and our, close communities and so forth. So these confusions happen on all levels. They happen in science and spirituality and religion and so forth. So this is the beginnings of an overview of this model. If you find this interesting, let me know. I've called this channel Cosmic Coaching because it's kind of what I do. I'm an empath, and I'm also someone who embodies these qualities of multidimensional mind. So I can kind of blessed with the ability to meet people where they're at and to be able to step into the subjective inner reality of other people. It's pretty easy for me to harmonize with just about anybody, regardless of their background, their worldview, their education, because it's a matter of sort of tuning into and locking into a frequency. Every human being has a fundamental frequency. The way in which they understand things conceptually, emotionally, energetically. So I do life coaching from that kind of holistic modality blended with empathic, heart-centered counseling. And if you're interested in knowing more about that or setting up a session, click on the link at this channel, or you should see a link below the video to register for a session. So I hope you've enjoyed that. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.